Catra's MO is lash out, run, control. But what happens when running shifts from impulse to a measured choice? In Season 5, Episode 11, Failsafe, Catra leaves Adora at the climax of the rebellion against Horde Prime, and it almost feels like relapse because she'd been doing so well. But on a closer rewatch, Catra's decision to leave isn't impulsive. It's a measured choice, a boundary she set to protect herself and respect Adora. And this is how I know. First, consistency. Over the past few episodes, Catra has been making the conscious decision to stick around and embrace a relationship with at least Adora and join the rebellion.
Hey, come here. It's time for you to officially meet everyone.
You sure?
Are you serious?
She's clearly practicing self-discipline to wait out the discomfort that comes with fear of abandonment, and that work is greatly aided by the presence of our dear Milog. Milog is an amazing tool for Catra because for probably the first time ever, she has a third party in situations that's completely bonded just to her, and that validates her emotions before she even realizes that she's having them. And it doesn't just validate her emotions, it grounds the emotions in a tangible, concrete way. They're no longer this abstract concept that Catra has to fight to understand. With Milog, she can see her emotions, see that they have consequences, and has real-time feedback with instant gratification when she opts for the emotionally regulated path. Possibly the most important part of this relationship between Milog and Catra. Milog is just being Milog, just like Catra's just being Catra. There's no expectation that Catra will do better, it's just intrinsic. Milog simply reacts to the emotions around it, and Catra can resonate with that so much. There's no expectation or pressure for Catra to do or be better, it's just an intrinsic want for Milog to be calm, so she's calm. Between actively working on her emotional regulation with Milog and choosing to stay with the rebellion and asking Adora to stay with her and being vulnerable and choosing to stick around even when her triggers act up, Catra's been putting in consistent work to do and be better. And that effort matters. It shows intent. Just because she wants to heal doesn't mean that she's always going to make the right decision. How do you know it's not just relapse? Okay, yes, fair point. Catra could totally just be the relapsing here. I mean, that's a very realistic response to a very real abandonment trigger she's been faced with. I mean, she spent the entire day traipsing about with Shadow Weaver, her abuser, and Adora, who's hellbent on sacrificing herself, which Catra can't help but feel is a personal slight against herself. But she's still trying to show up and stay there and be there for Adora regardless. But this is where the second factor comes in, observation. And this is why I don't think this particular Catra flight arc is a relapse. She waited. Every other time Catra felt abandoned, her options were to run away, lash out, or grasp for control. And every time she would cling to those options in this instinctive reaction. Immediately, she would claw Adora and run away. When Adora runs after her, inevitably, she'd try to control the conversation. Catra mostly trusted that Adora wouldn't ditch her, so there was a lot more tolerance and trust that Adora would come back. But when Adora didn't, at the beginning of the show, Catra lashed out, ran away, and sought power to control the outcome. Over and over again, Catra's reactions are immediate. Not this time.
Catra, she distracts you, confuses you.
Catra stayed. She forced herself to bide her time. She even waited for everybody else to go to sleep, a deep sleep, before heading out. The one thing we know about Catra is she's willing to run without a second thought. So the fact that she waited this long is proof that she's actively keeping herself there. Need proof? Look at Milog. He's blue, not that spiky red, meaning sure, Catra's feeling emotions, they're a part of life, but she's grounded through them. She's regulated. But she wasn't regulated, she was actually spiraling. Just look at the next scene. True, she's definitely terrified and hurt and responding from a place of intense pain, but she's clearly processing and not just projecting. Projecting would be more along the lines of when she gave Adora the sword back or became Force Captain. She projected her need to control onto Adora, and so instead of accurately reading her best friend, she just got deeper in the Horde's lives. Here, she's running away, Adora's running after her, just like the old days. They fight, just like old days, but unlike the old days, Catra actually communicates with Adora, leading us to the third factor of communication. And is it perfect? No. Is it effective? Yeah.
When do you get to choose? What do you want, Adora?
Sure, she tries to hold in the extent of her insecurities, her fears, her pain, but Honestly, with very minimal prompting from Milog, Catra opens up to herself and Milog.
Adora doesn't want me!
Not like I want her.
Then the ground turns green, she realizes Adora's in danger, she sprints back to Adora for a tearful reunion, and then a brief intermission sponsored by Screw You, Shadow Weaver.
It'd be funny if she weren't such a terrible person.
And a gorgeously written ending where Catra decides to stay. And we realize that wasn't relapse, that was actual commitment to recovery. Yes! And that ending is so beautiful and satisfying in every shade of a great conclusion to an amazing series, but we didn't need that ending to know Catra's decision to leave wasn't reactive sabotage. We already knew from her consistency before the decision that she was committed to sticking around. We knew from her observations during the decision that she's engaging her analytical brain, not just reacting automatically. And we know from the way that she communicates while she leaves that this is a boundary, set to protect Catra, yes, but also respect Adora. This story resonates with me so personally because I have been in Catra's shoes so many times. I used to run from relationships and ghost friends and self-sabotage because I really just doubted my value. I figured they're better off without me, I'm not a good enough friend anyways.
All I do is hurt people.
Like Catra, I had to learn to show up anyways. I had to practice sticking around even when my brain got loud. I had to learn to trust my friends, and it was not instant, not in the slightest. I made so many mistakes, oh my gosh. I remember feeling so guilty over being a high-maintenance friend, and I had to set boundaries with a lot of people, boundaries that I didn't feel comfortable making. I felt like a terrible person every time I made a boundary. I had to block some people, and I didn't always stick on the right path of healing. But over time, I learned to balance those protective instincts with intentional, grounded choices. To wait out the initial instinct to run, and try curiosity instead for a change. I learned to wonder, what happens if I stay? What happens if I trust that my friends will love me the way that they say they do?
I am your friend, Catra. I'm always gonna be your friend.
And just like Catra got to find out, I learned it's messy and painful and sometimes feels not at all worth all of the change that you have to do to heal, but in the end, I learned that growth isn't about perfection. It is about choosing to stay with the imperfections. Because, after all,
your imperfections are beautiful!
I don't know who you are or what your story is or where you are right now, but if you resonated with any part of this video, running away, lashing out, trying to seek control, and having to learn the hard way to trust people, to trust that your friends truly do love you, I guess what I want to say is, it's worth it. It's really confusing for a long time, and sometimes it doesn't feel worth it at all. But there are ways to see if your decisions are grounded in healing or not. You can see if you've been consistent over time, if you are waiting out that initial reactive instinct, and if you're communicating your needs through the choice, even if it resembles old patterns of behavior. Sometimes I still can't handle friendship, and I need time away from people, and that's okay. That's how God made my brain. But now, instead of running, ghosting, and projecting my insecurities on my friends, I let them know ahead of time, hey, I'm not feeling great, I need some time alone. And over time, I've not only gotten to trust my friends, but trust myself when I say, I'll come back. Because I have, and I do, and I will continue to, because that's what healing looks like for me. So the question I pose for you for today's video, what does healing look like for you? Because I may not know you or your story, but I do know that you deserve to heal. Huge thank you to Justin Umbreon, Mr. Smart75, and ShadowTalon for your monetary support. And special shout out to my gifted members Gilly, Happy New Year, Two Little Elves on the Shelf, Amba The Khan, Axel Redding, Blitzø, Blob, bluejaybard, Bunny Official 123, Captain Pengu, Dhruva, Geek of Lego, Handel, Haunted by Hope, Nova, Nuka Nuka, Plover Tech, Rell S, Rosie, TeamspeedxLuffyforlife, and Xavier Lyda.
A town that hates princesses? Should I buy property here? Is what I would have said before I joined you. Go team.